Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Anna and I am currently writing a contemporary romance novel. I have been struggling lately to do anything in regards to my novel. My motivation has been here, but my ability to meet that motivation has been here. I have ADHD and that is definitely part of it, but the other part is just that I'm a little bit lazy, and honestly I feel like I'm in a part of writing this book where it's hard, and so I don't want to do it. Maybe that's all actually just attached to ADHD, but nonetheless, I have not been doing a lot of stuff in my book. I have not been very consistent, and while I could give you a lot of excuses for why that is, I would rather tell you what I'm going to do to fix it. So for the next 2 weeks, I am creating a bit of a challenge for myself. It is not 75 hard for writers. It's not something big and crazy. It is a very small, very realistic challenge for people with ADHD, people with very busy lives, people who are parents who are like, I want to do this, but I just, how and when and where and what? I don't know what the what is, but questions. And that is simply, I am challenging myself to sit down for 1 hour every day for the next 2 weeks to just see what happens, to prove to myself and hopefully to you that it is not these large swaths of time that are going to get your novel written. It is a consistent amount of time over a large period to prove to myself and hopefully to you that it is not these large swaths of time that are going to get your novel written. It is small chunks of time consistently woven throughout your life. So that's what we're gonna do for the next 2 weeks. Ideally, I would like to do this in one chunk of an hour a day. Honestly, I find that sometimes easier than trying to break it up into 2 parts, because then I have to find 2 periods of my day where my kids aren't gonna bother me. For me, as a stay-at-home mom, my plan is to do it mid-morning when I give my kids a snack and set them in front of the TV for an hour with the snack, and that's when I'm gonna go upstairs and write. So if you'd like to join me on this challenge, I would love to hear about it. You can let me know in the comments if you're gonna do it or if it was successful for you, or if you've done something similar. I'd love to hear about it. Okay, before we get started, I wanted to go over just a few metrics used loosely, so we can have a true quantitative result of how much I got done in these 2 weeks. These 2 weeks will be starting draft 3 of my novel. I am planning on writing from scratch. So I will not be revising, I will be drafting or writing. But before I start the actual writing process, I am re-outlining the novel. So I currently have 21 scenes outlined, totaling 1,016 words, and then obviously my draft 3 is currently 0 words. So let's see what we can get that up to in 2 weeks. So I read through the scene weave chapter of Anatomy of Story, and basically the scene weave is creating a list of every single scene that you want in your novel, or you think that is going to be in the narrative line of your novel, or every single scene that you think is going to be in your novel. So that is what I'm going to do now. I'm doing it by hand once again. Obviously my novel is already written, so it is mostly going to be me remembering it. So basically I'm going to tell myself the story for the 108th time and just write down what goes in there, and referencing the 22 story steps as needed to basically just write down everything that's going to happen.
When I wear my colored glasses, the sun comes shining through. Wearing my rose-colored glasses, the world looks shiny and new. The skies are ever so blue. I'm happy through and through. Wearing my rose-colored glasses, I tell you what I see. You are still here with me. When I'm feeling lonely, I'm putting my glasses on. Whenever I'm sad, I'll wear them the whole night long. I'm chasing the clouds away. just can't stand the rain. I was lost for a while, but I found me a better way. I'm losing my mind, ignoring all the pain. When putting my glasses on, sunny days just go on.
So day 3 of this challenge, and I have finished the scene weave, so finished writing out my full list of all the scenes that are going to happen in this book. Ended up adding about, I don't even know, like 10 scenes at least, which is insane that there was that much stuff that I just was leaving unsaid the first time. And so because I hand wrote it, I have transcribed it all into a Google Doc, as well as copy and pasted the scene breakdown from The Anatomy of Story that I took from Meredith E. Phillips' website, and I'll link that below as well if you want to use it. Same thing. So now I'm going to, this hour is going to be getting started on that. I'm going to start by reading the last chapter in The Anatomy of Story on it's like on crafting scene breakdown and dialogue, I think. And then if I have any time left in my hour, I will get started on doing the scene by scene breakdown, the detailed scene by scene breakdown, which will probably take a while, at least the rest of the 2 weeks. I don't expect to be done with it by the end of the 2 weeks, but we shall see. Perhaps. Also, if you watched, I think it's in my last video where I talked about, I realized that I don't have a grand gesture. I found it. I found my grand gesture. It's not very grand, but within the scope of this book and the scope of my character's emotions, it is like what can be described as like her big step of like putting herself out there and accepting the risk of getting hurt, but wanting to have this relationship anyway. So I found it, I did it. Well, I mean, I wrote a sentence for my scene weave, and I'm very happy about it. That I figured that out, and that it will hopefully work out and make sense in the grand scheme of the story.
I'm an expert at overthinking things that I shouldn't. You come across as a cool guy, someone who's the opposite. And all my friends are leaving, but I wanna stay here. Can we just stay here? Maybe just one more drink. I can't help but think, where have you been? All my life, all the lonely nights. You were always there at the same damn bar. I just never looked your way. And I've seen every ocean, but I've never seen a color blue. Look into your eyes. Blue.
Hello again. I don't actually know how many days that I did this challenge for. I am ending it in my mind a little bit early. That might be completely false though. I did not keep track of the days in a efficient manner. But I am closing it out now, mainly because I'm moving. And so I need to edit this video tonight because I need to pack up my computer tonight. So I just want to go over my stats of what I accomplished in air quotes here, because I'm kind of disappointed in myself. I feel like I did not do nearly as much as I had hoped with this challenge. Nonetheless, let's go over kind of the stats of what did happen in the past 14-ish days of working an hour-ish a day. I don't know if I had finished my scene weave when I started, because again, it's been at least 2 weeks. So I did my scene weave and I put everything in a document with all of the outline notes from the anatomy of story. So in total, I have 82 scenes that I need to outline. I got through 47 out of 82 scenes, which is, again, like, it's over half. It's pretty good. And I wrote a total of 7,090 words in terms of outlining, and that is subtracting the structure of the outline and everything already. So the total, like the document total, was 11,655 minus all the words that fit into like the structure of the outline. 7,090 words of actual story content for outlining. I feel like it sounds like a lot, and maybe it is a lot, but I also feel like it feels weird to look at it that way with the amount of time that I think that I've devoted to this project right now. I feel like I haven't done nearly as much as I had wanted, which, I mean, it's just how life goes. I did have several new scenes that let's actually count that. How many new scenes did I outline? So throughout the scene weave and like planning out this new outline for this new draft, I did add several new scenes. I'm not sure the exact total for the whole outline, but out of what I've done, we have, so 7 out of 47 were brand new scenes that I was kind of creating as I was outlining. So obviously it took slightly longer. And I do think that this was very helpful for me, even the scenes that I've already written, to truly kind of flesh out the actual conflict, as well as the characters change and the end point. I think that those three things are kind of obviously that's kind of like the whole thing. But to write it out in that way, I think is going to be very helpful. We'll see how I actually feel once I start drafting, but it makes a lot of sense to understand where the character's starting, what they're trying to accomplish, and where they're going to end up. I think that is one thing that previous outlines for me have missed the mark on, is understanding where I'm trying to take that character within that scene. And so sometimes my scenes get really kind of lost and end up being maybe 2 scenes or 1.5 scenes, trying to mesh everything together because I don't understand where the natural endpoint for it is. I think writing that out is very, very helpful. I think this has been a very useful tool. I also think telling myself I'm gonna write for an hour a day has been very helpful in terms of encouraging me to do it, even if I don't write the full hour, because it doesn't work out that way. Sometimes, just life, it has been a good goal to be working towards. My plan, my hope, is to finish the rest of this outline in the next 5 days. My goal is to do 10 scenes a day and then finish it. My original goal was to draft Act 1 in August. That probably is not, that's not happening. But yeah, so that concludes this little kind of mini challenge. Before I go, I do want to mention the reason why I feel like I'm kind of ending this challenge kind of abruptly for me is this move. I am in the process of moving from the East Coast to Hawaii. It's a very big move if you've never had experience moving to Hawaii or moving to a different country, like across the ocean. It is a very big process. So I will not have my belongings until potentially November. So I won't have the computer that I edit on until November. So the vlogs are going to be put on hold until then. My laptop just can't handle editing, so I will be working on my iPad, which still obviously can't really handle this much content that goes into making these vlogs. So until then, I'm gonna be doing hopefully some sit down talking videos, talking about what's happening. Also filming, I have some planner content that I want to film and post as well, and I might try to do some mini vlogs in shorts in that time if I am feeling up to it. Again, with the move, this is all speculation in terms of how much energy and time I'm actually gonna have. Hopefully I can do any of that stuff. I do already have a planner video filmed that I'm gonna attempt to edit on my iPad. I filmed it on my camera though. Not entirely sure if that's gonna be still too big of a file size for my iPad to handle, but we shall see. So that is kind of just a life update, just to be aware that the writing vlogs will be kind of on pause until probably mid-November. Thank you so much for watching. I do think that this was a very useful challenge for me. I don't know if I would do this specifically again, but I think giving myself kind of a set, definite goal for each day for a set amount of days is something that I will continue to do. I think it just is very concrete, a concrete way to work towards something, where I think writing can get very abstract, very, I know that the end goal is this novel, but how do I get there? I do like having little boxes to check. So I do think that this is something that I might continue in some format moving forward, and encourage you to try it yourself. So thank you so much for watching, and I will hopefully talk to you soon. Bye.